Hey, what's going on, guys? Phil here. Sweating really bad. It's 6 on the dot, so I just wanted to touch base with you guys. We're gonna wait for Cruz, but in the meantime, it's that Monday all over again, and glad to be here. It's been a great start of the week so far, and right now it's really hot in Ecuador, more specifically where I'm at right now in Santa Elena, and Cruz just jumped in. Is the ghost of Cruz is
Yo, the
there?
ghost of Christmas past.
Uh, yeah, it's been a pretty good week, and I'm finalizing my stay here in Ecuador. I got a couple more weeks until I head back to the
What's
U.S.
going on? Boop,
Going
boop,
on, brother man?
boop. Nothing. What's up?
Chilling, man, chilling.
Oh man, don't mind me. I'm in my raggedy gym clothes. Get ready to go after this. I am super excited to get out of here and head to Texas. Can I say that?
Oh, sure, sure.
I'm pumped. What's going on with you?
Oh, just trying to recover from the weekend. It was Sophia's birthday, so we had a little shindig, and it was a good time. Good time. We had a party here
Okay.
at the house. There was a little bit of a scare of it raining throughout the day. 'Cause it rained during the morning, but and the sky ended up clearing out, which was good. But here's the funny thing. So anyone who's interested in going to Ecuador, I know that you guys heard about this whole minana kind of culture here. So 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 Sophia told everyone that the party started at 7:30. The first person that showed up at 9:30, and the last person showed up at like 12:30. So needless to say, that the party went on like into the wee hours of the morning. Really messed up actually my Sunday because
Nice. I like it.
yeah, and one of the guests, I don't know his name, but he was asking me stuff like, he's like, "Hey, where's your beer?" But mind you, I started drinking with everyone like at the house, like her brothers and sisters and their boyfriends and
Yeah.
stuff. At like 7:30 when the party officially started. So
Yeah, for sure.
so the guy's like, "Hey, where's your beer?" But I had like my beer in the house because we had the party outside, and like the whole night he just kept asking me where was my beer, but I was drinking like throughout the day because so one of the things that's very different here, I think, from the U.S. is that, like, in the U.S. it's more like a potluck. You go there and then there's a table of food and then people just go grab the food. In Ecuador, at least here where I'm at, actually I experienced this too in Quito. Um, when you when someone throws a party, like food gets served by the host. So we
Okay.
were like, we were serving the drinks and the food and stuff throughout the whole evening. So if like you left like food on the table, people wouldn't get up and go grab it. Like you'd have to go around and serve it to people. So that was like one of the things that we were doing, like prepping the food and stuff like that. It was actually a lot of fun. Um, but
Nice.
it went on seriously until 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and
I love it already. That sounds
yeah,
great.
and there were two other parties going on, like one like two houses down, another one like on the other side of the street, and that went on. I don't know, from like 6 or 7 in the morning. They had music blasting. I mean, I called it quits around
So
four
we got to
o'clock.
obviously talking about travel and planning. That's awesome that you had it sounds like you had a great weekend. I had to
Oh
just
yeah, yeah,
I
it
kind of
was good.
just chilled. I plan on heading out on Wednesday, flying out at least for like 5 or 6 days. Neither of us have a return flight yet, so we're just gonna see how it goes, play it by ear. I do know that it's in the 70s there.
Nice.
We have a rooftop pool at the hotel because we're using a hotel instead of Airbnb, just because, like I said, the Airbnb prices in Austin didn't work out. Uh, and stuff's open. So I am pumped.
Well, they made
I'm
the governor there made the announcement, was like, was like, there's no mask requirements and stuff like that, and every place is open. So it's
Every place is open, regular hours. Stuff will be open super late on the weekends. We got a great setup there. I'll be there with Pat, so we'll have a good chance to talk about planning stuff in the future for the long trips, which is awesome.
mm,
Parent stuff is moving along. Gotten some more stuff kind of squared away here, which is good. So prepping for that, which is going to be amazing. And yeah, stuff is good. I'm feeling now that there's it's 2 days away and kind of getting back on the move and not being stagnant here. I'm feeling a little alive again. I'm feeling ready to go, which is a nice feeling.
well, April is just right around the corner. I mean, we're literally almost like we're 16 days out until it's already April.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
it's moving fast.
Um, so yeah, that's all that stuff is pretty fantastic. I'm pumped. But the other question I had is I want to talk to you about some of those deals that you were talking about with the Galapagos.
Yeah.
If you had any more information on that, because there's a chance, depending on how it lines up, timing and price and everything, there is a slim chance that one of my sisters and her family could actually end up coming down.
Oh, really? Oh, shoot.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. So she was even talking about like if we were in Puerto Rico that she would maybe just come down, just pop down quick for a weekend just to get out. She loves traveling. She wishes she could be doing some of the stuff that we're planning on doing.
Mm-hmm.
So she was debating even if we were in Puerto Rico to shoot down just for a weekend. I said, yeah, absolutely. You'd be more than welcome. She's super chill. Be down to just go out at night, restaurants, hang out, like no problems at all. So that would be cool. But then I was even talking about, how the timing is falling and how you guys were talking about because your mom, maybe one of your sisters was coming down, and then with Sophia's vacations and everything, you're looking at some of those package deals that they have, whatever, 5 or 6 days on the Galapagos where they kind of do everything inclusive. And those are packages for that like price that you don't see on the internet. Like you don't see those advertised everywhere, right? More
Yeah,
of
yeah.
a that's more of a for locals there kind of deal. Because even if you just look at flights alone from Guayaquil or Quito flying over to the Galapagos, like they don't change in price. Like they're basically like roughly just over $400 round trip every single day. It's just like it's more like a ferry service back and forth than it is
Yeah, yeah.
like a fluctuating. They might have a little bit of a seasonal dip when it's like maybe they're off time or something. But for the most part, I looked April, May, June, July, like for month stretches, it's the same price. It's like buying a ferry ticket. We bring you over, we bring you back. We bring you over, we bring you back. Um, so yeah, I would definitely want to investigate some of that to be able to tell her because her and the family, they wouldn't be able to stay there. That would be a lot more conducive to what they could kind of do.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to stay 2 weeks and everything. They'd want to be able, you need a day or two before, you need a day or two after. You couple all that together with going there, and that's already 10, 12 days, right?
Yeah, yeah. And that's one of the things too is what Sophia and I talked about, and I've been talking to my mother kind of back and forth about is trying to lock in the schedule for her because she has 2 weeks of vacation that she's putting out there. But we also want to make sure that you know everyone gets a little bit of time to go to those places. And I think just looking at it right now that the Galapagos is definitely going to be something towards the second week because you figure it's 5 or 6 days. So just consider that whole week to be Galapagos, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah,
and
you
then
tack on like one roundabout kind of travel up and down day, and I mean, you're at a week. A week of your time is just the back and forth to the Galapagos.
yeah, and I think it might work out good for you too because you're planning to stay a little bit longer in the Galapagos. So if your sister comes along too, it's really about um, kind of finding the activities like early on, and I think it might make sense to do the mountain stuff first, like go to that area, have like a nice hub spot. Um, and
Yeah, doing the activities for a week and everything with you guys would be awesome. And then after that, we kind of just do our own thing and stay for a bit longer and, probably end up trying to work there a little bit like I described. Or, if the internet doesn't work out, you come back. But yeah, doing that week of excursions, getting a feel because you don't know what's going on. So it kind of immerses you with everyone. You get a feel for everything. And you're like, you know what? I really wanted to see a little more of this. And you do that on the second week.
yeah, and I think that'll work out perfect. But I think like once you're inside the country, and like I said, because I know you want to do more mountain kind of stuff. It'd be a lot easier. Like once you're in, if you want to fly out to Quito and stay in the mountainous area. And like I said, Quito is a really good centralized area if you really want to get to the volcanoes and these like remote villages, but also getting
Yeah.
onto the Orient side, which is where the jungles are.
That would
Which
definitely be the second half. That would be the
yeah,
second half of our trip because then that would be like head out directly, stay on the coast, stay in the warm, like the real warm weather, Galapagos, see the coast, see where you are, try and hang out with and see, hang out with you guys and hang out with Sophia a little bit and just chill there. And then head inland for, into Quito for a month or so. And
yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
on one of those, hopefully you get a chance to come out for like a long weekend, come see Quito again.
Oh yeah, I mean it'd be one of those things I'd like fly in. There's the bus trip is just it's way too long.
I
It's
already
super
told you I'm not taking any bus over to
like
Quito. I
I,
already told her.
well, I mean like Sophie and I were talking about it, and we're trying to plan a trip before I head back to go to Cuenca, but it's 3 hours from Guayaquil and 3 hours back, and it's in the mountains, so it's
And then
you know
it's
what I mean. It's like
over an hour to Guayaquil.
yeah, so it's like we're already doing a 2 hour. It's like about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive, depending if we take a taxi or the bus to get to Guayaquil, and then you're tacking on another 3 hours, not including the wait time. When that bus leaves, and it's like,
Yeah.
and I was telling her, I was
Yeah,
like,
you gotta, you're gonna be there at least a half an hour before waiting for the bus and stuff. It's that's a lot.
yeah, and to me, it's like time wise, if we were to get to Cuenca, we'd literally only have like one day to do stuff, and then we'd have to rush and then come back, and it'd just be like, I don't know if I want to take the bus. I feel like taking a flight would just give us the extra time because you figure at least 10 hours of travel time.
You're just buying the price of the flight versus the bus is for the few extra bucks. You're just buying back your own time.
Yeah, and that's
You just
to
you're
me.
buying back your enjoyment.
Yeah, and to me that's more valuable. Just like because if we take a flight to Cuenca, at least we get like the full weekend where we can leave fairly late, like say on a Friday, arrive late, but then we have Saturday and Sunday, all of Saturday and Sunday, and then leave Sunday night or even Monday morning. So there's that option. I think that would fit. But it was one of those things where she's like, "Oh, let's take a bus." I'm like, I don't know if I want to bus it for like one day in Cuenca because I'm gonna want to spend a little bit of time there and do some exploring and whatnot. So it was one of those. So yeah. So anyone that's watching or decides to watch later on this video, those are kind of just the things that you have to debate with yourself with the traveling. It's like you either take a lot of time, you save money taking the bus, or you give yourself the convenience of taking a flight, and you really compress the travel time because we've met people on the road. Cruz and I met people on the road out in Peru, and they were taking buses to each of the places, and those are like 15-hour, 24-hour bus trips. They're
Yeah,
long.
long bus rides.
Yeah,
And
and
if I'm being honest, you're not like saving that much money.
no, no. Well, we talked about it. We talked about it before in Peru. It's like, oh, we could take the bus, but it was like 30 hours. It was like a
It was
30
like,
hour one way.
yeah, and we flew there in an hour and a half, and I think it was like maybe like 20 more bucks, 30 more bucks than
Yeah, yeah.
than the bus. It's like, okay, that's just not like I won't go out for lunch one time. So back home, US prices. Like I'll eat in once here and then fly and just save myself that trouble.
All right. So on another note, though, I heard you say Puerto Rico, so it sounds like you picked Puerto Rico out of the hat.
I did not. No, no, no. I did not pick Puerto Rico. It just happened to be one of the ones because I was talking with them, obviously trying to get the scoop. And like overall stuff they said there is open. I think there's like a little bit of a curfew at night, like 12 or 1 o'clock or something. But for the most part, like malls, restaurants, bars, it's all open. I guess the only like sort of negative kind of vibe that they said is like they want the tourism, but they haven't been caring for some of the tourists. Some of the tourists like haven't wanted to necessarily follow the rules or whatever. But I mean, you get that everywhere, anyways. Like some tourists are just jerks. I don't know what else to tell you. That's not different. That's not new. That's not new than before. It's just maybe being expressed, right?
Why don't we just pick Puerto Rico? I mean, it's a great hub spot directly to Ecuador. It's actually the flights from Puerto Rico to Ecuador are actually fairly cheap from the last time I checked.
So I don't mind Puerto Rico. My 1 and 2. So Mexico is for some reason about it. Mexico is just not super high on my list. My top 2, hands down, right now, because Colombia seems a little. One, I want like 2 months in Colombia. We're not going to get there till a little bit later. It seems like it's a little up in the air about the open close deal. When I go to Colombia, like I want to be able to like enjoy Colombia.
Yeah.
I don't want any hangups with it, nothing. My 1 and 2 are Costa Rica and Puerto Rico. Those are like hands down 1 and 2 right there.
I'll say just you go to Puerto Rico and you can decide what the next trip is.
All right, you want to push Puerto Rico and then we'll decide what the next trip is?
Yeah. I mean, why not? I mean, it's available. It's a US territory, so you don't, there's not a lot of hoops to jump through, other than just arriving, making the arrangements to, get an Airbnb or whatever it is. It's basically, just hang out. And then it's an island, so we can be within coast to coast. Any like weekend excursion, if you think about it, can happen within like an hour.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Easy. You can do a ton. There's a ton of stuff to do.
Yeah. So that would be that. I mean, like I said before, I absolutely love Puerto Rico. If anyone who's ever been, like my first time there was the second time I actually traveled by myself for an extended period of time, and I had an absolute blast. And every time I go back there, it's like it's always like I always get this flashback of how good the times were. But even then, like when I go back there, I always feel like I find something new or you know meet new people or whatever it is. Like there's a lot to do there.
I don't know if you did it on the southwest corner. There's a super old salt flat where it's like it's not a mine. It's actually like the salt flats that the Spanish set up there. It was one of the original salt flats there. There is this like cove beach there that the sand is like almost crystalline white because it's all the salt flats there. It's just absolutely just stunningly gorgeous.
Oh, Cabo Rojo. Cabo Rojo on the southwestern side.
On the southwest, yeah.
Yeah, dude, I've been there before.
They had the lighthouse up on the cliffs and then the Cove Beach down there. Oh my God.
Hell yeah.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
So yeah, so I say Puerto Rico. We could while we're driving to these places, we could figure out the next destination.
I'll let Pat know and I'll confirm it that's what that'll be the 5 or 6 week trip before Ecuador. I'm sure he'll be down. All right, Puerto Rico.
All right, Puerto Rico. So we didn't do the countries out of the hat, but he said Puerto Rico, so I was like, yeah, why don't we just pick Puerto Rico? The food's really good. People there are super nice. It's a really cool area. There's a lot of things to do. And speaking about that with the salt flats, like despite being a small island, there's a lot of variations in the on the island of like like the
Yeah,
north
it's something
is
it
jungle.
has like every biosphere. There's something like it's not like it's not a dry desert. There's a dry something there that there's only like a couple of them in the world. They have the caves, the mountains, the jungle. Like it's actually crazy how many different things there are there to see.
Like I said, I'm down. It's one of my favorite spots, and even just to go there and hang out. It's like I said, I mean, within a half an hour, or within half an hour to an hour, you can get out to the surf area in Rincon
Yeah,
within, you know,
which is a cool little town. There's actually a right up on that mountainside there. It's like actually a pretty steep little drive, even though it's short. There's actually this amazing old classical like English breakfast place on the mountainside with this unreal view looking out because it's like right on one of the cliff faces. It's gorgeous. I'll check with my dad what the name of that place was. Great, great little spot.
cool. All right, it's settled. Puerto Rico.
All right, fine. Puerto Rico then.
Well, that was easy. So yeah, we didn't pick a name we didn't pick a name from a hat, but that's fine, right? Because now we have some we have time to figure out, the next location, and then in the meantime, we can we can do that while being in Puerto Rico, chilling.
Yep.
Like I said, there's actually a lot of things that I didn't get a chance to do while I went back to Puerto Rico numerous occasions. Like I never got a chance to go to the Bacardi factory. There were I never got to go surfing in Rincon. I mean, there was a bunch of other stuff. There was other islands that I wanted to check out, but never had a chance to go to, like on the western side. Um, I'd like to go back to some of the areas. I think it's Fajardo. I think is one of the islands out
Mhm.
there where there's some good snorkeling. And like I said, there's a lot of stuff out there. And then mofongo. If anyone's ever had mofongo before, skirt steak with mashed plantains. And as you know, if anyone's been watching this on a regular basis, they know that you guys would know that Cruz and I love plantains.
Yeah,
Um,
mofongo is. I mean, you better have a pillow after that thing. That's a nap waiting
yeah,
to happen.
seriously. Yeah, no,
Mofongo is amazing. Honestly, you get tons of great food from the street trucks. They drive around different spots and everything, but you get tons of great food, super cheap from all you can eat real local, super cheap. You don't have to go out like and have amazing, amazing food. Um, if we're looking at like areas to stay, I'm saying that like our main base would probably want to be Old San Juan. Um,
oh yeah, or at least nearby.
yeah, somewhere in like the Old San Juan area is like it's a good location. It's a good location for like tourists, stuff to do, central right there. Like it's got a lot going on, so that can be prime. I would recommend that would be like our core base to start with. What's going on? That would be our core base to start with, and then maybe we want to head out and like crash over near Rincon for a week or something. Who knows? Whatever. Um,
Yeah, I think the options are gonna be available just because of like just once we're there, and then having the hub spot where we have our stuff, and then satelliting out to these other locations. I don't know if
mhm.
you've ever spent time in Ponce down the south, but it's a really cool smaller city. It doesn't have like the craziness that San Juan has, but it's got some personality to it for sure. It's one of those things where, like I said, it's a lot quieter as far as city goes, but it's got a nice vibe.
Yeah. I was actually so my two big ones, like I said, I was doing research on Costa Rica and then doing like how stuff going on in Puerto Rico. I already knew that Costa Rica was pretty open and stuff. And I came to realize I don't know a lot about Costa Rica. Like I actually got to do like a deeper dive about where to stay, the areas and different stuff because they have a lot of areas to stay that are like kind of remote, which for like long-term stays is okay. It's great for like a week or two, but for like a month or so, you kind of want to be. I like being a little more city centralized. um,
Yeah.
and then
Tell you
taking
the
the
truth.
excursions and stuff.
Yeah. Tell you the truth, I don't know too much about Costa Rica either. So it's
No.
um, you know, anything that you find or anything like that, or places. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of places to stay, especially since well, it's a nice spot. I know there's like the East Coast has a different vibe versus the West Coast of Costa Rica. I guess Costa Rica.
Yeah, different vibe. There's a couple different areas. There's like the Tortugaria, I think it was, which was like this huge national park up on like the northern coast, northern border area there, like 77,000 acres, known for like their shellback tortoises and stuff. Um, they have the cloud forests, they have volcanoes, they have the surf area, which is over on more like the southeast coast, which was Puerto Vieja, I think, the old port. I'd have to double check it. But that was more like it was like a bit of a little city there, more of like a younger backpacker, surfer kind of chill area. That was real popular to go. You have the capital, San Jose, which is kind of in the dead middle of the
Mm.
whole country, which is not terrible to be in the dead middle if you want to go out to the east to the Pacific or to the Caribbean, depending on what you wanted to do. But yeah, you know how it is. Planning and putting that whole kind of takes time. You gotta do. I like doing a ton of research and really knowing what's going on. I don't like to necessarily plan exactly what, but I like to know all the areas, kind of the gist, the vibe, and then being able to pick from there.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I do know a few things about not on the tourist side of things, but on the energy side of Costa Rica. Energy, as far as energy goes, I want to say Costa Rica is one of the few countries that their energy industry is mainly hydropowered. I think like I want to say it was like 80 or 90% of the electricity is generated by
Yeah,
I guess
they
you
have
could
that
say
whole concept La Vida, and they've been pushing a lot of the like ecotourism, and they're like really they are trying to be really progressive with like a lot of their preservation and stuff. So that doesn't surprise me that they've really pushed on like a lot of the hydropower and everything.
well, you know what it is. I feel like a lot of the South American countries have been doing that, or at least attempting to. Just because of I think part of it too is like the natural resources that are in these areas. Like out here in Ecuador, there's a lot of rivers. Obviously, the same thing in Brazil, Paraguay. You start going to all these areas because of the Andes. Um, a lot of their power generation and in solar power too. I'm starting to see a little bit of a push out here in Ecuador, which makes sense. I mean, for the most part, kind of strange. Like this year, there's been quite a bit of rain, um, but otherwise, for the most part, in this coastal area, it's like sunshine. You know, 95, 96% of the year. With the like 1 month where you're gonna get spotty rain here and there. It's actually, believe it or not, it's actually wicked humid right now. Wicked
And I
humid.
mean, they have a huge vested interest in preserving their natural resources, the rainforest and everything there. They draw so much tourism and so much of their money from that. So they have like a really vested interest in making sure that that's all preserved, which I think is amazing because I want to go see that stuff. I want to see that stuff preserved forever. Um, so it's good to see that they're doing that, and it's kind of like they turned it into a lifestyle, um, more than just like a thing, which is the only way that stuff works as far as that stuff goes. It has to kind of be like a lifestyle, like you just naturally do it, and that's kind of what they've really been inspiring over there, which was cool reading up on a little bit of it.
Yeah, and again, so it's the same thing here in Ecuador. So one of the things, so for people out there that are, environmentally conscious, and I don't pretend to be, some crazy environmentalist. One of the things that I absolutely adore about the Ecuadorian culture here, even if people if they don't have the infrastructure for recycling plastics and papers and stuff like that, a lot of people reuse a lot of items, within the household. So like if there's an old water bottle, people use that to put plants into. And you'll often find that at a lot of the houses around here, or even some of the, the properties that people have, and use existing um, existing stuff that's not currently used anymore, like old tires. So one of the things that I saw down in Loja was this craftsman who basically he just builds a bunch of different stuff. One of the things that he does is he builds with bamboo, but he used old tires from a car and created steps, like walking steps, and like structurally it's very sound. I mean, 'cause the rubber is
Yeah.
very durable, but on top of that, it creates this like different aesthetic. Um, and I took a lot of pictures of this place because he built this cafe restaurant, and then he lives, in the back of the cafe, but he built everything with bamboo, but he tries to recycle all the different items that he has. So they don't go to some recycling facility. People try to recycle a lot of the equipment and things like that they previously had. Actually, a really good example of that was for Sophia's birthday. So it had an 80s theme, and they wanted to make like this disco ball. So what
Yep.
they did was they took old CDs. This was her and her sisters. They cut the CDs into little cubes, and used the reflective side as kind of the mirror of,
Oh,
of a
sure.
disco
Yeah. Yeah.
ball. And dude, it came out wicked good. I was like, yo, I want to take a
Nice.
picture of that. And they're like, you
Haha.
serious? I'm like, yeah. They're like, that came out wicked good. So, and what they did was they converted like some of the CDs to look like records. They painted it black and things like that. So we actually have some of the decorations in the library. So I was like, oh no, I want to keep some of this stuff because it just looks cool. So
Nice.
um, so there's definitely a lot of creativity. I didn't participate in that aspect of it. I was just like, all right, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I
Oh
had
yeah. So the support team. Support team.
yeah, I had other stuff that I had to take care of, but yeah, I think one of the great things about going to one of the Latin American countries is that either you got like people are gonna find a lot of creative uses of things that people had, stuff you never think about, but works out really amazing. Like there's an art installation. This I want to say it's an art installation. It's an art piece in Salinas, in one of the like the nice neighborhoods, and it's a 52 gallon barrel or 55 gallon barrel that they converted into a windmill. And you look at this thing, you go, wow, I never would have thought that someone would do that, but they carved it in a way that air goes through. I want to say it's like a radial style turbine,
Yeah.
and it spins like on the regular, even when there's very low wind. It's actually pretty impressive to see. Um,
Nice.
I have an appreciation for that type of stuff. So I kind of like it stays in my mind, and it's one of those things I do like seeing. Um, and you know, it's one of those things where you don't see it like out in like a really big area. You see it like in small pockets of art pieces that people have that the city um, you know has displayed everywhere. So it's pretty cool. And I'm sure Costa Rica would definitely have a large plethora of that kind of stuff as well. Like I said, because they're into that biodiversity, they're into the environmental preservation. You know, and the funny thing is, I feel like sometimes, you know, sometimes places like Latin America, Ecuador, Costa Rica, tend to deal with the environmental stuff a lot better, despite America always kind of gleaming on. I don't know. I always feel like there's like a sentiment that a lot of Americans think that like, oh, they're high and mighty about environmental issues, but in actuality, I think a lot of countries deal with it better, despite having a lot of obstacles, placed in front of them, with whether it's poverty or just not having some of the resources that are available. It's there's a lot of creative ways I think that people in these areas
Well,
are
I
able
mean,
to
there's a lot
do
of
that.
things that just culturally and situation almost kind of help, which is, they don't have the means to be throwing tons of stuff away. We don't have the means to be buying all of these other overly packaged products. We need to be buying from people that are local because that's the better price and that's what we can get for food and different little things like that that are a bit different of a concept here in the United States when, I mean, you can just go to Walmart or Target and get whatever you want, whenever you want, or order from Amazon. So
yeah,
those little things, it's different, right? And that's because of it's because of the environment that you're in and what you currently have accessible. So they're definitely, because of that, they're for sure ahead of us in a lot of those little aspects like that. I think particularly a lot of times in like food usage and waste and consumption and everything. I think they tend to definitely be one up on us because, and it's a lot of aspects like we can't afford to be wasting this food.
Yeah.
And how you can get your food and everything as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of so like it's the same thing with like washing clothes, So in an area, there's obviously areas in the United States that has a
after
lot
being
of
in Croatia, like there's like almost no reason for dryers. Dryers are like super luxury. Like you don't, right? Like you don't use a dryer really there in Ecuador, do you? You hang stuff.
Yeah, the only time we actually used a dryer was when we were in Loja. I had to show her sister and her
Oh,
like
Loja's the place that you loved, right? That city that you really
dude,
like.
Seriously, I wouldn't take the bus there.
Is it it's a city?
Yeah, it's a city in a valley. It's kind of like Mindao, but it's a city. Like Mindao is like a town.
Yeah, I read about Mindao outside of Quito, right?
Yeah, it's only about like 2.5 hours bus ride. And part of the reason why it takes so long is because there's so many switchbacks. But absolutely beautiful city. Probably one of the, as I was told, is probably the cleanest city, and it's the only.
All the stuff I saw about Mindao, it just looks beautiful.
I mean, I stayed at a hostel there that was a chocolate factory, and the restaurants and stuff that you could do just within that one spot was like unbelievable. There was a pizza shop that's outside. They could, there's no walls. It's just they have like a countertop. They have their, their brick, their clay oven, and then you just sit outside in the, it's like
That's
underneath.
cool.
It's underneath a hut. And actually, I took the last time I was there, I took videos of it and stuff. But there's like jungle hiking they can go through, and dude, the water is so cold. Like there's like these, like where the water drips down and stuff. Um, but absolutely, I would definitely go back there again, just for the chocolate tour, because they go through the whole process. You get to try the chocolate kind of throughout the processes, and then obviously
yeah, when we're up near Quito, we'll probably have to head over to Mindao and check that out for a little bit.
Oh, it's so worth it. So worth it. Like it's jungle. It's weird. The elevation is still fairly high, but it's low enough where there's mosquitoes and those weird flies that bite.
The deadly ones?
The deadly ones, yeah. Yeah.
Fucking hate those. God. All of a sudden you look down, there's just a little red dot of the blood, and then you just got to welt for like 3 months.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
They're absolutely brutal. But the places are really good with, like the nets. They have the nets for the bed. They have they have screens for the rooms. I would actually stay at this place again, but I would want to try all the other places. But it's every place is very close to each other. Um, but it's definitely, like I said, there's a lot of different activities. I was only there for the weekend, so I didn't finish all the things that I wanted to do. But it's definitely worth going back there again. And the chocolate is, I mean, they make it there, so it's like if you want like fresh chocolate, you're not going to get any fresher than the place that makes it. So
Nice. Yeah, we'll have to sneak over there. That's cool.
So
I'm getting excited.
yeah.
We got the leaving for Austin has got me back. Brought me back. It's got me ready. So
Well, I mean, you pick like the right time because of the whole situation with like the governor making that announcement about having everything open and
he's
whatnot.
making
And
an
it's like,
announcement. The weather's making like a really solid change there. It's going to be in the 70s the whole time. Technically, we land there 11:30 Central Time in the morning. Our flight out of here is at like 6 a.m., so we get there super early. I'm basically free that day. We landed at like 11:30 there, and it's St. Patrick's Day. So we're gonna land. We're gonna get squared away at the hotel, and then gonna go out and enjoy ourselves. Check out the city.
it's gonna be you have to take some pictures and videos and stuff because we want to be able to share some of
Oh, the GoPro's coming. The GoPro's going on its inauguration voyage on this one. I already got it.
It's right because this is more like a test run for the traveling and just
Yeah,
getting reacclimated to the long travel.
getting used to it. Gonna do that. So, oh yeah, I'm really excited. Anybody else that's been feeling a little locked up, you get a good little trip planned to out somewhere that's going to be a little sunny, open for you to do stuff. Don't worry. Don't get me wrong. It'll change your mood, and you can go places. Lots of places to go.
Yo,
Don't be scared about going.
yeah, and I can't stress it enough, right? Or we can't stress it enough. It's like every now and then you just gotta scare yourself a little bit, to because break out of those routines because it helps kind of just recalibrate them. I don't know if other people feel that way, but I feel like when I put myself in a situation sometimes where there's a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit of uncertainty, there's a little bit of reservations about going someplace or feeling a little scared and anxious. That's usually like the best time to go because sometimes you just need that big shock for a little bit just to realize that it's not as bad or is not as scary as what was initially was in someone's mind because that's all it really is. It's just what's in someone's mind, right? Like when you go to a foreign country, and I remember when I was explaining to people that I was going to Ecuador, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're going there? It's so dangerous." It's like it's. I mean, my initial perspective when I first arrived, and I think part of it was because I arrived in the middle of the night around like 12 o'clock,
Worst time to arrive ever. Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, every place is closed, and that was when I was going. I'm like, oh my God, did I do something wrong here? But then the next day, it's like there's so many people out. There's kids out. There's mothers with their kids. There's the whole family's out, and this is at night or during the day, and you go, no, it's not that bad. You
No,
know,
it's fine.
I mean, do people take more precautions? I would say yes, but is it any more dangerous than being in the U.S. in a bad neighborhood? Honestly, sometimes I really feel like you go to some neighborhoods in the U.S. and it's like way more dangerous in so many ways.
Yeah,
Um,
without question.
and I've always found that people are really nice in other countries. Not to say that people aren't nice in the U.S., but from my experience traveling to a lot of different places, I think people really go out of their way to help out foreigners, um, despite foreigners. I mean, I always go back to the time when we were in Peru, in in having a brain
Oh,
fart.
what we're booking our stuff. Which one? Which stretch?
When we first arrived in what's the name of that city in
Cusco?
in Cusco. Cusco. It's the
Oh
tip of
yeah,
my
yeah.
tongue. We were on the bus. We didn't know how to get to the center of town to get to our hostel, and
No.
people on the bus were like guy helping us, make our way, through the city. It's like,
Oh yeah.
you know,
She was like,
it,
she was just like, no, get off here. She
yeah,
asked us where we were going. She was like, all right, I'll tell you. And then we got, she was like, get off here. We're like, okay.
and and I think that's one of the great things. And and even your story telling me about the stuff that you were doing down um, I'm having such a brain fart
What? Oh, in Croatia?
in Croatia. Yeah, I'm
the, the people that we met over there were unbelievable. There was, I can't say enough about the people we met. It was unreal. Everybody was amazing, super cool, like not just helpful, but like just really chill, friendly. I don't know. They were some great people. I can't say enough about all of them.
well, you ended up going to somebody's house in like the middle of the mountains.
A bunch, yeah, a bunch. We hung out with a bunch of people, like a lot. It was awesome. They were super nice, super welcoming. Like there was no shady, there's nothing suspicious, just great. Um, it was like, it was great. It was, I mean, I wish I had some better adjectives for it, but they were just, like I said over there, Split itself was probably like one of the safest cities I've ever been in my life. Like I said, petty crime does not exist there. Like that's not a thing. Perhaps during like peak tourist season, maybe it brings in between tourists or other people that are preying on tourists and everything, maybe it spiked up. But with it being slightly off season and dead because of COVID, like that just didn't exist at all. At all. Like I never worried about a thing at all, ever. Ever.
Hmm.
There was nobody looking for a fight. There was nothing anywhere. I didn't see it at all.
Yeah,
And we were all over. And we were out all the time. All weekends. Every night. So it's not like we weren't, we were just staying at our place. We were all over the city all the time, and it was fine.
Okay, so we've decided that Puerto Rico is going to be one of the places, right? And I think this is a good time to set up that open invite to friends about going to Puerto
Sure,
Rico, because
absolutely.
it's not high of a risk in the sense of getting stuck at a place, because it is a U.S. territory, so that does give people a little bit more flexibility as far as travel goes, or at least it would give me a little bit more reassurance about you know the situation with traveling
You won't
outside
get
the
stuck
country.
there. You can 100% fly home. It's the U.S. It's
Yeah. So again, might be a good open invite. I'm gonna send a text message in to the group today, and
Sure,
be like,
shoot it
hey,
to them. See if anybody wants to come down. Absolutely.
I hope they're not scared about it. I mean, we're gonna be out there. We're gonna be. We don't all have to stay at the same place either, too. If that's what they're people are worried about. Um,
They can, yeah, they can figure this stuff out. We'll start looking. Yeah, I'll talk to Pat on Wednesday. I pick him up when we fly out Wednesday morning. We'll start chatting about it.
mm,
I'm sure he'll be down. It actually might even, depend on when we go, what day we're leaving, it might even work out best because he's actually still waiting for his passport to come back in.
oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, USPS. So anybody out there, if you're sending your passport in for renewal, don't use USPS. Even though you pay for 2 days for it to get there, 5 to 6 weeks, you could check on your tracking and it could still maybe not be delivered. So pay the extra couple bucks, get yourself a passport courier who's going to drive that thing directly there. Do not pass go. Do not mess around. USPS sucks right now. Don't use them if you need to get your passport renewed or for anything important at all.
See, that I didn't know, other than what you've explained. So
Yeah, he thought it was held up at, he thought he was held up actually with the government, of course. But no, he went to go and check on, and just for some reason, he went and checked the tracking info, wasn't delivered after about 6 weeks almost.
6 weeks.
It finally got delivered after he like called him and everything, and it got there like a week later or so. But it was in transit for an obnoxious amount of time.
That's The last time I got my my passport renewed, it took about a couple of weeks. So that's kind of crazy to think that it's
Yeah, the
taking that long.
renewals, they're saying it's taking like 4 to 8 weeks right now. And then they screwed them on the delivery of it, the USPS. So yeah, pay the passport courier, get that thing there as quick as you can if you need to get it done. So
Well,
he's still waiting for that back. So
well, he
Puerto
doesn't need it.
Rico is
He doesn't need it to
not
travel
for,
to
yeah,
us.
not for Puerto Rico. So that's why Puerto Rico is a lot more viable of an option
Mm,
while he's waiting. Um, well, it's the only option, except going stateside, which we plan on being around for a little bit.
yeah.
Um, Costa Rica isn't viable for him because, well, no passport right now.
Well, I think we definitely have at least a few months planned out for getting around
Yeah,
places.
I mean, Ecuador is going to be a little while. I mean, I'm going to be there probably for about 2 months, I would assume. Galapagos as long as possible in that area, and then up into the Quito area for a while. So yeah, that'll probably be about 2 months. That would be all June and July, which is your 2 months that you plan on staying there for, and then it would be what's after that. Maybe it works out then. Maybe Colombia finally works out after that. Who knows?
It's
Jesus.
it's this year is just a weird year, and everything is just kind of a weird flux, which sucks. Like you would think that things would start kind of normalizing a little bit, but maybe I mean maybe I don't see it, or I don't. Maybe I'm seeing things wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird.
I would assume things would be normalizing a lot more by now, but they're going slowly, sort of, yeah. So just take what we can get. I know where I'm headed is good. You're in Ecuador. Ecuador is good. Puerto Rico is mainly open. I think they're only going to continue to open more. Stuff's already going along, so that's great. Uh, Head back to Ecuador after that, which some of the stuff planned there is going to be unbelievable, and then figure it out from there. Colombia, Chile, maybe we'll see. We'll see what's going on with them, right? It's
Yeah.
tough to plan it. I mean, it's kind of a ways away anyway, so we'll figure it out as it goes.
Well,
Definitely want to do those.
my
Go ahead.
mother sent a message too. Is like she wants to go to Argentina, and Argentina was on my list. And there's actually a very specific place that I want to go to in Argentina, but I'd have to do a little bit more research. But it was on my list of things to do. Or one of the places that I really want to check out. One of the other things too is Argentina is known for like their beef and stuff like that. So that was like high on my list as far as trying meats and whatnot. Um, but as far as I don't know what their status is as far as traveling under um, the pandemic rules and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I don't know, but it's one of those things. Now that she pinged me about it, it's one of those like, oh, I might consider trying to speed that up, or if there's any risk that we have to anticipate or anything like that. I would at right now I don't know, so it's one of those things that I definitely do want to check out, but um, it might get on the list as far as
Argentina. Okay.
yeah. Like I said,
Um,
like I said, she sent a message. I think it was like 2 days ago, and I just because it was on Facebook, and the only time I ever open Facebook is actually when I post.
what year did we say that we were going to be in Prague for Christmas and the New Year's?
I think it was 2022, or
Is it
was it?
20? Was that 21 into 22 or 22 into 23?
I don't know.
We can go back and check the tape. I don't. um, yeah, I do like I loved South America. I love South America. It's going to be awesome. There's a huge stretch of me that really wants to get over to Europe, Southeast Asia too. so many,
Oh
so many
yeah,
different
yeah.
places.
Well, I've been reading about just a little bit about Vietnam, and apparently like Vietnam has been on a tear as far as like economically, and
Vietnam is supposed to be gorgeous.
yeah, so
Like the jungle, the city area is supposed to be amazing.
yeah, and I don't know, it might bump it might get bumped up on the list because like I said, just today I just was looking at some stuff about Vietnam. I don't know how I came across it. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, places that just seem interesting on top of like the food being phenomenal. Anyone who's had pho would know, like, I could eat that every
Thinking,
day. That stuff is so
I'm
good.
thinking after, we do Puerto Rico, Ecuador, and then say the next place. I think the next place might have to be kind of like a jump, like a little bit of a stretch place. So get warmed up. I want to hear ideas.
Yeah, yeah, that's I'm liking
You know what I mean?
that
Because you can do like
that idea.
South America, and then you pop one that's like, okay, we're going over there. Like, all right, we're going there. Yep. All right,
Like
let's go.
straight removal of comfort zone and
We're
just
going, yeah, whatever. Vietnam, but like we're going somewhere for like as like a separation one. Like, all right, yep, we'll shoot over there.
that's
Even if because
actually
of the
not a
time change,
I think
do you know what I mean?
we
Because
would
like,
just have to deal with the time change thing, other than
yeah, so
that.
maybe because of the time change, whatever, you only go there for a month or so because you don't want to deal with it for a super long time, or you end up getting used to it. Who knows? But maybe even do it. You only do it for a month, and then you're like, "We'll shoot back somewhere else for another month or something before you head back to Ecuador in between."
All right. I got this one idea, and I did look this up previously. French Polynesia. It was one of the open places of
I don't know anything about it.
I don't
I
know
know
either, but
nothing.
I knew I during the pandemic, when everything was closed, it was one of the few places that was open, and there's some there's some Airbnbs on islands in the middle of I don't want to say not in the middle of nowhere, but it's not a part of it's not part of the main island. So that was because one of the main things that kind of attracted me to it was like was the time difference thing, and tell you the truth, I can't remember exactly the time, but it's one of those like you'd have to work at 3 and then finish at 12 or something like that. So, but it would leave like all day, do stuff, go surfing.
Yeah, I mean, I can as like a pop off for like a month or so, 2 months. I can. Who cares? I can do that. As a permanent, no, that'd be real rough. Or even over like the course, like 6 months might be a little crazy, but for 2 months to get out there, absolutely, I'd absolutely do Vietnam. Vietnam sounds
Right,
unreal.
right.
Um, I already said, like the Bali sounds unreal. There's a couple countries over there that are like that I really want to do. South Korea is supposed to be amazing.
Ooh, South Korea.
I'm in. Don't you don't have to. You don't, you don't, you don't really like have to like convince me a lot on this one. We just have to be like, okay, we're gonna go. And
All right, so here, yeah, okay, so we're talking about Asia, we're talking about Southeast Asia and all those places. Honestly, one of the places that I do want to go to is China, um, and but I don't know what the viability is as far as you know, the, obviously,
I think we have to. I don't know, but I think we should wait a minute.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's what I'm saying. But like honestly, it's one of those things where I've seen documentaries of a lot of the places, and there's a lot of things that actually fascinate me about the country. Like Shenzhen. I'd actually like to go see the Three Gorges Dam. Not only is it the biggest hydro dam in the world, but as an engineering marvel, it's a very impressive project. Just to look at and see. But again, it's like there's some areas there that I would like to check out. I mean, I've even before all this lockdown stuff took place. I mean, I even thought about Mongolia. Just there's some really just far out places, and I think I've
I
watched.
typed in the most generic search ever. Top Southeast Asia destinations. Hold on. Vietnam. Let's see. Cambodia.
Ooh, Cambodia too.
Siem Reap. Colorful, chaotic, intoxicatingly teeming is nothing, not infectious. Let's see. Bangan, Myanmar.
Myanmar, I
I'm
would.
passing. Difficult situations right now. Yeah, that's a tough one. Yes, if it was just me and my backpack, I didn't have to worry about getting out, getting back, or work and everything. Sure, maybe. But they got stuff could pop off at any minute at there. Like if we're being serious,
Yeah, yeah.
it's Chiang Mai, Thailand. Another spot in Vietnam, Sa Vietnam. Vietnam's made it twice on this list of top 10.
Oh, it's
The
now
classic Bali, Indonesia, which is, I mean, I'd want to go. Another Thailand, Koh Samui, Thailand. Borneo, which is Malaysia.
I could do Malaysia. I haven't been there in a
Uh,
while.
oh,
I didn't really.
my brother from another mother, your homeland, Bohol, the Philippines.
I think there's still travel restrictions, but there's a lot of places in the Philippines.
And then the number one they have as listed on this particular one is Luang Prabang, Laos.
When you said Cambodia, I also thought about Laos as well.
And that was on that one little list. We'll do cheesy travel channels only because it's right here and I know it's not going to give me a virus. Don't give me a slideshow. I hate you. I'm out. Bye. No slideshows. Get out of here. 15 culture trip. Nah. Planet Wire. 12 best place to visit in Southeast Asia. Siem Reap, which is the one in Cambodia, which looks unreal. Ha Long Bay in Vietnam, another Vietnam on the list. Koh Samui, Thailand, which is on here again. In a different spot in the Philippines, Boracay.
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 Yeah, that's supposed to
Yangon,
be like.
Myanmar. Myanmar looks crazy. We're still not going there. Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Bangkok, Thailand, Singapore.
Yo, Singapore. It's actually pretty expensive, but
Yep.
that's supposed to be a. I've only been to the airport. I've never actually been to.
The Palawan Island, Philippines looks unreal, brother.
Dude, there are so many places in the Philippines. Once the Philippines opens up, I think that should be somewhere on the list there. I'd like to visit some family and whatnot.
Tagalong rice terraces in Bali. Komodo Island, Indonesia. Bali's also in Indonesia, so if you're already in there, then we can go check out the Komodo dragons.
Just don't get bitten. Uh-oh. Looks like his video froze.
I lost you for a sec.
All right, you're back. All right, so we definitely have a lot of places to work with as far
All
as
right, so
places
in
to
the
go.
future, as a breakup for South America, we're gonna pop off somewhere that's, we'll say, it may not be extravagant, but it's gonna sound extravagant. It's gonna be, we're shooting.
Yeah. I think heading east to all the because there's Turkey, there's Southeast Asian countries, there's a lot of different places to choose from. and I've never been to Vietnam. You know, um,
Nope.
it's starting to sound, after you just, rattling off a bunch of different places there. It's like, yeah, that actually that actually sounds really good. On top of like the
Sound
food being just straight fire. Like
fire.
I love the food.
So much seafood, just oh my god, unbelievable. So, all right, basically 99.9% Puerto Rico. I'll double check with Pat. I fly out on Wednesday. I absolutely can't wait. Gonna test out the GoPro. We'll prep for Puerto Rico. Let me know once you find out any information about the like Galapagos stuff as far as that package goes. If you have any like information you could get me so I could just send it to my sister, even if you don't say like, oh, this is the exact dates, because she's kind of flexible in that June stretch beginning there. Potentially. I just want to be able to send it over to her because it's one of her kids' top destinations. She would love to go. It's always like whenever you see anything on the internet, it's like, oh yeah, all inclusive trip for 10 days to Galapagos, $7,000 a person. Like it's not, it's crazy stuff that you'll see as far as these packages. So
Yeah.
if you had any of that info, if I could send over to her or anything, that would be awesome.
Well, I think what we're gonna do, and I've mentioned this to my mother, is that we're just gonna buy all the tickets all at once, and then, whatever variation that, if you guys stay for a couple of weeks over there, that'll be up to you guys. But I know that it's gonna be one of those things that we're gonna bulk purchase everything, because I think we can probably get like a bulk deal as well.
Yeah. But like just some of like, do you know any of the numbers on anything or anything at all, sorta? Or
Yeah,
like,
it's I want to say it's like $400, $450 or
and that's like the flight and lodging and stuff all to get over there.
yeah, flight, lodging, excursions, and meals.
Oh, that's actually pretty unbelievable. And that's
Yeah,
for
like
what, like for like 5 days or something?
yeah, 5 days, 4 nights. So I mean, that's a deal. I mean, I even talked to my mother about it. She's like, "Oh, that's great." I'm like, "Yeah." So to me, is and it was good that we're talking about it, because, like I said, one of the things that we're trying to line up, and then obviously, once we've confirmed everything, the people that are going, then we'll buy everything all at once, and I'm anticipating that we can get an additional deal with a bunch of people, uh, buying buying a ticket and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
because if that was the deal anyways, I would probably honestly, as long as it lines up, which it should, I would jump on that, do that for the 4 or 5 days, and then just blow that last flight, and I would just fly back at a later time and just stay out there.
Yeah.
Because that already covers like so much at the beginning and on top of the flight just to get out there and everything
Well,
that's
you might actually be able to just switch your flight. Like,
true.
oh, you know what I mean? Like, so that so
Just hit
that
me with a change fee or whatever.
yeah, and while you're out there, you might be able to find or even talk with the lodging place, like, oh, hey, I want to stay an extra week, and
Sure.
or the travel agency that's doing it could book it, so that um, everything is just all ready to go, and you don't have to worry about it before when you arrive. It's just you got a place to stay, you got your normal meals, and then you got your
Yeah,
additional
I'll
excursions.
go hustle for my meals and stuff. There's lots of like almuerzos and different stuff on the island and stuff, and or the 3 islands that I'd want to check out. But like if that other core stuff, basically really being like the flight and that base one, which the initial excursions would be cool, like I said, just to get a great feel for the place,
Yeah,
and then figure out what extra stuff I want to do. That would be actually probably be best, honestly.
yeah. No, I think, like I said, I think for I think it makes sense that we do the Quito first, like as a central part, and then the last week, because my mother is only there for a couple weeks, or here for a couple weeks. Spend time in the Galapagos for the final week, and then you can stay, um, and then she'll head back with me in Santa Elena, and then
Yeah.
meet up with you wherever you are and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'd stay there, head back for a little bit around your area, and then shoot up to Quito. Um, would probably be the play that we would end up doing. Um, Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, keep me posted on the stuff. I'll let her know the kind of general, like what it is. Like it's 4 nights, 5 days. It's like 450 or whatever, and for the stuff, and
Yeah, because
that's
like I
kind of
said,
what it's.
Sophia is gonna talk with the travel agency, and then if I get like a rough head count, that'll give us a good gauge about what's gonna be like before we head out there. And then, like I said, we'll
Yeah,
make the arrangements to buy the stuff later.
yeah, I'll figure it out with her. I'll chat with her. I won't be able to like definitely confirm or anything right away, but I'll probably actually text her right after this. So
Cool. All right, we're
but
10 minutes over.
well, I gotta hit the gym. This is one of my last sessions before heading out to Austin. I've earned my 4 or 5 days to break. Oh, the train and the diet has been unbelievable, but I got 2 days left before I can relax for a couple days. I'm still gonna work out a little bit at the gym that they have there. I actually made sure the hotel had a pretty decent gym, but I'm definitely gonna have some beverages and some really good food though.
Of
It
course.
is well.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yes. So I'm gonna go get that cardio in now, and I'm gonna earn those. I'm gonna earn those treats I'm about to have in a couple days.
Cool. So we're gonna see the next video with you in a new environment. So that's gonna be a fun little transition.
Oh, absolutely. So, all right, great stuff, Kuya. I'll be in touch, sir.